Hi everyone, Mary and Embossing here. I'm really excited because scrapbook.com have taken on WOW products, which is just wonderful. Thank you so much, scrapbook.com. I buy lots from you. So yeah, I'm really chuffed. Anyway, so I thought I would show you how to use Melt It. Now, Melt It powder has been around for a long time. Well, I think there's videos on my YouTube channel going back sort of 9-10 years where I'm showing using Melt It and that. But then you can sort of play with it a bit more. One of the things I like doing with it is using it in silicone molds. But if you haven't got silicone molds, you can use cookie cutters. And then like you can just get different effects. So I'm going to show you a translucent powder, how that comes out, then an opaque marbling powder, and then, oh, do you know what? I think we'll try, I haven't tried this one, the polished silver. Let's see how that comes out. Yeah, and then I'm just going to do like a mixed one. This was one I played with earlier. So this is using In The Navy, with the feathers mould, so you can use any silicone mould and it's exactly the same concept. And look at that, isn't it beautiful? I also used on that the gem pattern from Altenew and seeing the scrapbook.com have taken our products, the scrapbook.com word dies, thank you. So it's got thanks, thank you and hello. I'm using these a lot at the moment because I just love the font on them. And they're not obtrusive at all. They're really lovely. Anyway, so let me show you what I'm going to do. So you're going to need a little foil case, preferably. If you've got an old, oh, what were they called? Oh, Susie Weinberg, you know, the hot doodah. Guys, you know what I mean. You can use that as well. I prefer, I have got, well, I actually got two of those. But I prefer doing it this way because I've got more control. I'm not lifting up a great big thing and pouring it in. I'm making my own little spout and I can control where I'm pouring, etc. So, Melt It powder. Can you use it for embossing? Is it an embossing powder? In effect, yes it is. Could you use it for embossing? Personally, I wouldn't. It's the finest powder you will ever come across. Completely unique to WOW. It's just, I mean, if you've done an all over and you just wanted a subtle shine, very subtle shine, completely flat, it's not going to give you any raise whatsoever, then yeah, go for it. But yeah, I personally, I don't. I use it for this. Okay, so I'm taking a metal spoon because we want to make sure everything's anti-static still. I'm going to take a nice heap spoonful. In fact, I'll take 2 spoonfuls. Go a little bit more. And the reason I go a little bit more, and I'm not bothered if I've got too much, is because if I don't like what I've done, I can throw it back in and remelt it back down. So you can just keep reusing it again and again. So what was we going to do? I'm going to do, oh, I said let's do a translucent first. So this is Alexandra Renke, Judith's blush, and it's a translucent. It's got the little T there to show you that. And I'm just literally going to sprinkle a little bit in. The more you put in, the darker it will go, the deeper it will go. The less you put in, obviously, the lighter it will go and the more translucent. That's really quite a small amount. And then this bit is important. You want to mix it up. So get it all mixed in. And it looks like, to the point where it looks like you've got no colour in there whatsoever. And it looks like it's just all disappeared. So let me just do this. Now, I'm going to use it in this cookie cutter. Now, to do that, I want to get some ink from my pad on my finger and then just start putting it inside the cookie cutter. If I didn't, it's going to stick to it because it's metal. It is just literally going to stick and you just won't get it. Well, you would get it out eventually, but trust me, it's not much fun. So lots and lots of ink on there. I have tried doing it with the embossing brush. I'm a bit heavy-handed and I go a little bit too much. If you can control yourself, you can obviously use the embossing brush because it is exactly the same ink that's in here. So let's just make sure I've covered that completely. And then I'm gonna pop that there. I'm just gonna wipe my finger and then I'm just gonna have a look, make sure that's, yep, I just want to see that that's what you're gonna be seeing. So what we're doing translucent, and I think I might go a little bit of, should I go gold ultra high? Or I might, yeah, I'll go gold ultra high with it as well. I'll show you a little swirl effect, which is really, really pretty. So for that, I'm going to need a cocktail stick. And then I'm just going to rub that into my pad so that it's ready. Again, because I don't want it to stick. Now, I'm going to hold this under here. I hold it very, very close. I'm not physically touching it, but it is very close. I'm going to fast forward this for you, and I will tell you at the end how long it takes, but it really doesn't take that long, but it seems like it's long if you're just watching it. Okay, so that's really, really pale, which is lovely. And then I'm just sprinkling in some gold ultra high. So that's the thicker one. And then I'm going to take my cocktail stick and give it a little swirl. If I wanted to add some white in there, I could. In fact, shall we, while it's still molten? I just love this effect. There we go. Now we need to let that set. It's going to take just a few minutes. It really doesn't take long. This only took probably, I don't know, a minute and a half. Once I'm editing my video, I'll be able to see how long it was, this piece, and then I'll type it on there for you. But it really doesn't take long at all. But what we don't want to do is go in there and grab this at the moment, because this is metal. So obviously metal conducts heat. So this is going to stay warm for a little while. We don't want to go in and grab that just yet, because that could already be set. But if we grab it, this is still going to be hot, and then we're going to burn ourselves. So a little bit of patience, doesn't take long. Now if you can see a little droplet there, you can actually do little drops. I'll put more in on the next one, and then I'll do some drops for you, which is what I did on this one as well. So I just made some, while I done those, I just done some little droplets and then got those as well. So you can just take this bit off. This will just come off. There we go. You can also write on the bottom. So if you use a permanent marker, you can write on the bottom what you've used, and then you can just keep reusing these trays over and over again. Okay, so let me just... Okay, can you see where we've got a little bit sticking up there? That's fine. That's just where I swirled and it pushed up. So if you place your heat gun over it, or heat tool, and then just heat it, it will go flat. Right, because I've heated it again, I don't want to touch it just yet, but get yourself a palette knife ready. We'll have to have a little clean up. I do get in a bit of a mess when I do this, but they're so worth it. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is, once you've poured it in and you've got your cocktail stick and you've pushed it into your ink pad, you can actually put your cocktail stick in there to make a hole, and then it will set around it, and then you've got a hole ready for a little pendant, which is just lovely. Just see that. Just give it a little tap. Run that under there. And just look how beautiful. Right, let me put a bit of card under it. Just stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. Love it. Okay, so that's with a translucent. Okay, so this time I'm going to do it with the Sea of Tranquility by Seth Apter using an opaque marbling. Now this has got OM on the little code. So that's what it stands for, opaque marbling. So that means that as we use it with this technique, so with the melt it, if we just stamped and embossed this, it will come out pretty much the colour that you see here. But because we're putting it in with the melt it and we're going to melt it down, that means that the white core that's in there is going to start coming through. And the longer we melt it, the lighter and lighter it's going to get. So let's get some powder, some melt it in there. Nice bit of melt it. Pop my lid on. You've got 160 ml in here as well. And let's just throw in some of this Sea of Tranquility. It looks a lot, but it really isn't. I mean, I've been using this. I was using this at the Frankfurt show. So, yeah, a little goes a long, long way. So let me just mix it up. One thing I think I didn't say before, and it's really, really important, is that you do heat from underneath. If you heat from the top, it's just going to blow everywhere, which... trust me, it's not a good look. It really isn't. So you want to heat from underneath. Okay, so that's all nice and mixed. This time, I think I'm going to give this a go and just not be too overzealous with it. So I'll just get a bit of ink around there and then I can smooth it round with my finger. I just don't want it too gloopy. It's a lot quicker than doing it with the pad. But let's see if it works just as good. Right, so I'm going to whiz through this, put your peg on one side, make a little spout on the other side, and then heat. Okay, so let me take some of my disco ball. And this is a really sparkly embossing powder. This time I'm not going to swirl it, I'm just sticking it on the top. But because that's still hot, the powder bit melts into it. Let's just go there. You can see I've done some drops. Some of them came out all right, some of them didn't. I think this needed to be a bit flatter. That's okay. We'll sort that out in a minute. These really don't take long once you've dropped them. They really don't take long to set. Any that I don't like, I sort of had an idea with it, but it might not work. Oh, right. So that one weren't done. I went in too quick on that one. Actually, that's quite interesting now. I bet if I tried to do that again, it wouldn't work. I've got this lovely little hole in it. Look at, oh, look at that. What's the odds of getting that again? Honestly, oh, wouldn't that make a cute little pendant? Seriously, clean it up a bit while it's still warm. That was just an absolute mistake. Look at that. I need to get rid of that little bit. Probably could put a bit of heat on there. That's just so cute. Looks a bit like an avocado, a pow avocado. Okay, so these bits, I usually just leave them in the pot. So, right, can you see where that's gone a bit yellow? That's where I was just keeping the heat on there. So I was burning it, in effect, because I kept the heat in one place while I was doing my little droplets. So let's just go, right, that's all right now. Okay, We'll see if this works out at the end. It might not. I might have needed to have done some more. It was just an idea. And like I say, if I'm not happy with them, I can just throw them back in and remelt them. So let's just get all these little bits. And I can write on the bottom what I've used. Oh, right. Okay, that lifts off beautifully. So that was obviously enough of the embossing brush ink. Now, I don't know whether... Yep, let's give it a little tap. And then you can go in and lift off. So this is our difference. Let me grab a bit of card so you can see. Oh, this is our difference between opaque and translucent. Quite obvious, but translucents are my favourites. That's what I really, really like to do. But now I'm going to try the new polished silver. I just want to see what that's going to come up like. Never, because it's brand new, I've never ever tried it in with Melt It. In fact, there's loads that I've not tried in with Melt It. There's so many ways to experiment with this. Honestly, once you get yourself some, you won't stop. And just think of all the little jewellery pieces you can make and give as gifts. Just fantastic. Right, we'll do a feather. Let's do a feather. And probably only need about, what's that, one teaspoon? Yeah, 1 teaspoon. I'll go a tiddly bit more, just a tiddly bit. And then this is our polished silver. I'm not going to put loads in. Don't worry about that little white lump, if you can see it. I don't even know if you're in camera shot, actually. Just, if you can see that little white lump there, ignore that. That will just burn off. That's just something Wow put in to make them super duper special. Let's mix this up. The silicone mould doesn't need any prepping or anything. You can just go straight in with it. Okay, so when you're pouring into like a silicone mould, you do have to be careful not to go too much and then it all goes over. I decided not to get the little bit. You can get that in there, that's not a problem. And I'm just going to leave this as an embellishment. But I'm hoping it's going to do something which all the other powders do, and then I can show you how to rectify it. Again, this doesn't take too long to set because it's quite thin. You can just give it a little, right, that's still a little bit molten there, so I'll leave that and I'll just set that aside. Okay, for my next experiment, I could be taking that out now, but I'm going to leave it a little bit longer. I need to make sure that's on a completely flat area. So let's just go in again, because that one worked out lovely before. So again, just go in, but then rub it round with your finger so you sort of smooth it all out. And you can look to see that that's nice and flat. And this time, because the Melt It, if you just use Melt It on its own, it starts off clear, but the longer you heat it, the yellower it will go. So I'm thinking if I want to get sort of like a creamy colour, let's just put about 1.5 teaspoons in there. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of the opaque bright white. So I'm hoping, she says, I'm hoping I'm going to get a swirl going on between the clear and the white. So I'm just going to mix that up. And then I'm going to heat set it. Okay, so let's get gold in there. So I've got like a creamy colour and then the white there, which is exactly what I wanted. So I've already gone and got that in there. You don't even have to do the swirl if you don't want to. And then if I hold that there, it probably only takes, it depends how thick you put it in, but it probably only takes about a minute for this to set. It really does depend on the thickness of it, obviously. So just be patient, just hold it in there and you will feel it getting sort of tighter as such as you, like, look, if I try and let it go now, it's just going to drop, so it's not ready. So just give it a little wiggle every now and again. But this is making our hole ready to make a little pendant out of. I mean, how beautiful. Do you know what would be lovely? I just think of these colours and I think of weddings. You could make, if you're doing a wedding, then you could make your bridesmaids a little necklace each, or you could just make all the ladies that come to it a little necklace pendant each. How nice is that? Sorry. Get all emotional now. But look. So you can give it a little blow. That helps set it as well. Okay. So I now know that that's setting because it's setting around there and that's holding it. Doesn't mean that it's completely set in the middle, but also remember it's the metal. I don't want to touch it just yet in case I burn myself, and I don't want to do that on camera. So, but while that is setting, let's just pop this out. And they literally, you just pop your finger underneath and out it pops. And it done exactly what I wanted it to do. Okay. Can you see how lovely and shiny it is on there? And here it's gone quite matte. That's because it's sat in the mould. It could, we're not really sure why. I don't know if it's to do with oxygen not getting to it. Not sure. There's obviously some scientific thing. I'm not a scientist, so I'm not even going to pretend to understand. There's a couple of things you can do now. Well, 3 things. One, you could leave it as is. I still think that just looks beautiful as is. Let me bring it up to you so you can see it a little bit better. You could also get some, what's it called? You know, on your finger and just rub it round. I've forgotten what it's called, honestly. My poor brain, because I get so excited when I'm doing all these things. But you can also, and this is where setting number 1 on your heat tool comes in really, really handy, because you can heat it and that will shine it up. So let me just do that. Sorry if the gun obscures it, but I need to be able to get to it. Okay, the trick is you want to keep your heat tool moving. You don't want to hold it in one position, because remember I said, if you don't like it, you can just remelt it. And that is exactly what you do if you held it in one place. Also, if you've done it on heat setting number 2, it's just a bit too harsh for it. Okay, so while that's cooling down, oh, look. So let's just push that through a little bit more. See that coming through there? Lovely. And then I can just give that a little wipe because it's got that ink on there. It's still very warm, so be aware of that. Especially if you're getting to do this with children, just be aware of that. And then that's ready to be a pendant now. But seriously, look, let me just show you all these ones. This one was one I done earlier, which was exactly the same colour. It was that Judith's blush, but I put more in it. So can you see how much lighter it goes? It really does make a difference. And then there we've got the polished silver. So we've got opaque, and then we've got, what did I put on there? Disco ball on top. This one's Judith's blush with a bit of ultra high gold and ultra high white swirled in. This is Judith's blush on its own. This is polished silver. And then this is just melt it with some of the Opaque Bright White Ultra High in there. I mean, look at that, seriously. And then a bit of the gold Ultra High. So there's so many things you can do with this and so much jewellery pieces you can make. It's just really fun to play with. I just love it, melt it, absolutely love it. It only comes in a large size, but you'll be grateful for that. So yeah, that's everything. So welcome aboard scrapbook.com. Thank you for having us. See you on the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.